We're grateful to be hosting our Igniting Enterprise series at the Other House, South Kensington, which opened in 2022. It's a vibrant local hub combining apartment-style living with hotel services and a private members club. Today we're in the library. It's a bold and intriguing space, the perfect backdrop to dive into a conversation about entrepreneurship with today's guest.
Hi Rupi, thank you so much for having me. What a beautiful setting that you have. I'm Paul Shoker, I'm the Chief Executive of CurvUp.
Paul, thanks so much for coming along today. I've got a feeling it's going to be a really great conversation. So thanks for taking the time out. So can you start by telling us a little bit about what you're doing at the moment with your business CurvUp, and tell us about your role and tell us what you really enjoy about it and perhaps what some of the key challenges are.
Yeah, so I'm doing something that's very close to my heart, something I'm extremely passionate about. And the problem that I wanted to fix was, how do I reduce entrepreneurship failure and reduce that mortality rate? So we've created a platform called CurvUp, which is a digital platform that really is there to enhance the success of the journey of every entrepreneur. It's taken 2 years to build. We've had many challenges in terms of making sure that we get this right. And other than that, I'm obviously excited to be here and share whatever else that you wish to learn more about the business.
Amazing. Peter's mantra is there's no such thing as failure, there's feedback. So we use that kind of mantra to sort of encourage our young people, either through our Enterprise Academy or our Home Academy program, that if you see something as failure, you're more likely to just sort of give up on it. So always perceive it as sort of feedback. What are your thoughts around that?
I totally agree. Failure is actually learning. Right? So business is an experiment. You're going to learn everything every day.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is, firstly, technology changes, the economies change, pricing models change, your customer demographics change. So you think that you may have it right, but you may not. But once you've got it all tweaked and you start moving forward, I think you're going to be obviously on cloud 11. I think it is really important to try and understand, if you are making those mistakes, what are you actually learning as a team, not just on your own, because it's important that you share that feedback. So I totally agree with Peter on that particular fact.
What do you think about in terms of, as a young person, you've just received some feedback on your business idea, or perhaps you've developed a product or a service and you haven't got as many sales as you had anticipated. Now this is as a young person. How do you think they should go, how could they go about sort of developing and building that kind of resiliency? Is it something that is innate within you, where you just have this kind of, I'm just not going to give up on it because I really feel connected to it? Or is it something that they can learn? And if so, how can they go about learning that?
Right, okay. So firstly, it's about letting go of the emotion, because too many people get emotionally attached to their business. So I think that's number one. Number two, is there really a product fit to that market? Some market fit, really, really important. Thirdly, making sure that you're listening to your customers. And finally, it really is about not just you on your own, it's about your team.
Yeah.
A lot of people try to do everything on their own, and I think it's about building that team around you with the right skills, focusing and really executing.
Because that's important, because I think you're right, there is often a myth around being an entrepreneur. You're on your own and you don't have anyone around you, or you're a solopreneur. But actually there are people around you, because you can't do every aspect on your own, can you?
Yeah. So when I first started my business, I think one of the mistakes I made was I thought I could do everything. And that is really learning to let go. I had a really good mentor, and he watched me and he said, Paul, really good, you touch people's hearts, but you got to learn to let go. Because I watched you, and you're almost like, if you like, I walked into a restaurant with you, but you seem to be the waiter, you seem to be the chef, you seem to be the guy behind the bar. I know why you do that, because you're very passionate about your business, but you've got to learn to trust the people. That's exactly why they're recruited. Of course, they're all going to make mistakes. You're going to make mistakes, but it's all about quickly learning that mistake and moving forward.
I really like that analogy, because actually, imagine if that were the case, where you've got guests coming to you, you've got customers coming into your restaurant, and then you're welcoming them, then you're grabbing the menu, then you're taking their order, then you're at the bar, then you're in the kitchen. One person cannot do all those things. So I think that's a really great analogy, because it paints the picture of one person rushing around,
correct.
like crazy.
Yeah.
So when you're applying that same approach to your business, you're spreading yourself really thin,
Correct.
aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely correct. And it takes time to learn that. And I think the reason a lot of young entrepreneurs don't do that is simply because they need the resources, they need the cash, they need the funding. They've got to hire the right people. You pay peanuts, you're going to get monkeys.
In your opinion, are there different types of entrepreneurs? What if you're an accidental one? You've just stumbled across something and suddenly it's kind of growing exponentially.
Yeah.
You haven't had the time to think about the kind of people that you need.
So I think you get a number of different type of entrepreneurs. You get some that want to just create a lifestyle business. So for example, I could be a consultant. I'm quite happy with what I earn, my 5 or 6 clients per month. That's great.
Yeah.
I'm happy. There are others that will, as you correctly identified, will build a business, but all of a sudden it started to grow very quickly. Now they've got to make a decision. Are they quite happy with the way that it's scaling, and do they want that momentum? Because the bigger the business grows, the more challenges and problems you're going to face. I think the other thing that they do need to look at is courage. Business requires courage. A lot of people are very fearful. They've got the great idea, but they're not prepared to move forward because all of a sudden they've started thinking, oh my God, it needs money, it needs this, it needs, A, B, C, D, E. But I think it needs courage. And if you're prepared and you're passionate about it, then just move forward.
I like that, courage. That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. So let's go back a bit. Let's go back to, you mentioned that, you've how long have you been in business? I think you've set up a few businesses. Give us a little potted history of what you've done sort of over the years, and how you sort of what was your first foray into business?
Yeah, so my first foray was market stalls, selling fashion. I was 16, loved it, realised that it built a lot of confidence in me. The reason being is because I'd never done it, and I thought, why not? Let me try it.
What did you sell?
Ladies' fashion.
Really?
So lots of skirts, lots of tops.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed it. It built a lot of confidence for me to be able to look someone in the eye, tell her that she looked amazing in that blouse.
Wow,
and
okay.
of course, I realised that because of that, I can sell. I learned to handle objections. I learned that it wasn't easy, it's very hard. And then of course the whole market changed in terms of less market stalls, the high street started opening up, so there became, if you like, a bit of a change.
How long did you have the market stall for?
For about 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then after that, I decided to do something else, and that was a very interesting business, and that was making Bombay mix right from the kitchen. And we built
like
that.
You made it fresh, basically.
Made it fresh,
so you fried it
right
all
from the home, correct.
Yeah. Wow.
All the entire ingredients.
Yeah.
And we started getting business from local supermarkets and from local pubs, believe it or not, in the Midlands.
Yeah,
and
well, that's where all the Desi pubs are.
Yes, exactly
all the Indian
right.
Balti pubs and things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then we got a very large contract with Rank-Hovis and McDougall's under a brand called Sharwood's. And we started selling, for example, to Tesco's, to Sainsbury's, and that was really good. And
That's
then,
amazing, Paul. I never knew that.
Thank you,
wow.
thank you. Yeah, and then that business got acquired by a very large food company in the United Kingdom called KTC. So that was a very good success.
Wow.
So having done that, then whilst I was at BT, I thought I want to now go back into entrepreneurship. I had the call for entrepreneurship. So we built a online portal for students. So back in the day, a sixth former or a person at college wanted to go to university, and they would normally get a university prospectus. So I thought, wow, why not create a web portal where students could say, I want to go to Manchester University, and then you'd hear everything about Manchester University, but from students that were already there. So it was user-generated content.
Wow.
So we started creating a lot of content from local universities aimed at students. So it was unbiased information, campus life, nightlife, you name it, lecture life, it was all there. And how we made our money was that students were hard up for cash. And what we did was we effectively created local deals. So local discounts on the bar, nightlife, cinema, laundrette, Pizza Hut, whatever it may be. And we did quite well. Richard Branson came on the scene with his product called Virgin Student, because one of his very first businesses was creating a student magazine when he was at university. And then, of course, in 1999, the whole digital world opened up, and he also wanted to bring that onto a digital format. And one thing I learnt was that great brand they were very wide and broad, whereas we were very deep and narrow. So we were bringing on local relevancy, personalization in terms of offers to students, whilst they were very broad and wide in terms of the brands they were bringing on board. And we just felt that there was a sense of synergy and collaboration between the two of us. And I remember meeting them and saying, this is not about competitiveness, this is about collaboration. That's what I call the big C. And I think that was really, really important for me. And we decided, I remember they wanted to do a deal, and I said, well, why don't we flirt first? And then if we like the flirtation, let's kind of get engaged. And then if we want...
Is that what you said?
Absolutely, yeah. And then what we can do, we can
Yeah.
probably start thinking about a marriage, and we'll also have a prenuptial agreement in terms of if it doesn't work, how do we demerge? And that all went very well. So that was, if you like, one of my first exits in the technology world.
So that's really interesting you say about the big C and the competition and the collaboration, because they're kind of both sides of the same coin, aren't they? I suppose if you call it collaboration, then you kind of take the sting out. You're kind of saying you're working together. Had you have looked at it as competition, that collaboration wouldn't have happened, would it?
Correct, yeah. So I think one of the first things I learned in my first business, the Bombay mix business, was that in order to scale, I can't compete with the bigger brands. So why not collaborate with someone? And that's where I started learning the collaboration. That's exactly what I then did in my other business with Sir Richard Branson.
Okay, so you did the thing with, you got married effectively.
Yep.
You got married. Did you have kids?
Yes, I had one child then.
Did you?
Yep, one son, very early on.
Really? And then what happened after that?
I then decided to go to India on a holiday for 4 weeks, and I ended up there for 14 years. And the reason I stayed there, Rupi, was because I sniffed an opportunity.
Yeah.
So I could see, and I could kind of see that the future here was that this economy was going to be digital in terms of its numbers. It is going to grow. And I could just see the hunger in people's bellies. And that was very important for me. You've got to have the hunger.
Yeah.
And I literally built a technology business. And that was, again, built within about 6 weeks of me arriving into India. So we built a tech business.
So that whole, how you've described, developing the apps and then kind of selling them or working with the mobile phone provider, how long does that take to kind of nurture that relationship or to go to them? It sounds very time consuming, and it sounds like there are lots of people involved.
Yeah.
It's a lot of heavy lifting, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah. So I think one of the key things that I learned, coming from a telecoms background, I realized very quickly that who do we need to go to? So the way the operators worked was that they had a chief executive, they had a CMO, chief marketing officer, a chief revenue officer. So very quickly I'd get to the chief executive and then to the CMO and then to the chief revenue officer. And the reason I was able to get in was because I built a very strong network in India very, very quickly. Having a British accent definitely helped. And coming back from the UK with a telecoms background definitely helped, because they knew precisely what I was talking about. So that naturally gave me the credibility and the authority and the reputation, if you like. And I guess also the trust to be able to have those relationships, number one. Number two, I think they were quite astonished at how quickly we built this business that understood the dynamics of that geography.
Wow.
That's important. Number three, how quickly we understood what the market wanted. Because remember, those mobile operators are looking for differentiation. They're looking for something that their users are going to engage in and use, because it's driving their revenues up. So I think building those relationships took time. I would say to you that to close a contract like that would probably take anything from 3 months to 6 months. Going through a proper procedure, tender procedure, meeting, the whole committee and making sure that we were scalable, we were secure, because your applications have got to be secure. And of course that we had the means to be able to deliver what we meant.
That's really interesting. That's kind of, I feel like I've got a real good picture of kind of how it all happened. You mentioned about the kind of, you've got to have that kind of hunger in your belly, that kind of fire in your belly. You obviously, before you went back into the world of entrepreneurship, you worked for BT and Siemens. So when you worked for those companies, did you feel that you were quite intrapreneurial? So you've kind of got that entrepreneurial mindset, but you're applying it and working for another business. So did you always feel that you kind of had that in everything that you did, that you were always quite sort of quick on your feet, very savvy. You're clearly great at kind of sales and talking and kind of making people feel at ease and really comfortable and all those things. So do you feel that you always had that as part, is that part of who you are anyway, naturally?
Yeah. That was part of my DNA.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I felt the hunger. And of course, when you're working at a blue chip company, you realize that, do I really want to work for someone? You know, I'm already selling, I'm already bringing revenue. Why can't I do this for myself?
Yeah.
But what I really needed, as I said, was the foundation, those extra skills. And one great thing I learned both at Siemens and BT was the team. So when I built my student business, if you like, which was called Surfing Students, was all about the team. It wasn't about Paul Shoker. I just had a vision. I just had a mission. I just had a great idea. And I very quickly realized that why BT and Siemens and all these large multinationals are successful, because they have the teams, but they're the right teams.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we did. And we were successful selling that business to Sir Richard Branson simply because we had the right team. And that's exactly what they're buying into. They're not buying into me. Of course, I'm the founder, but they're buying into the rest of the makeup of the business.
In terms of, we talked a bit about your successes and all the kind of really, I would say, the real rise of Paul. Have you had difficulties that you've encountered along the way, things that quite haven't worked out the way you'd planned, or anything that you could share with us?
Absolutely, yeah. I think it'd be wrong of me to say everything's been a success. Of course, there's been failure.
Yeah.
You know, you lose sometimes very senior people within your team. Your product hasn't quite delivered what you expected. You've lost a strategic customer. You've probably got the right or the wrong shareholders. Because again, that can cause a political nightmare in terms of how you want to effectively scale. So all of that over time has been a great lesson. So it's been a little patient, making sure that you can take your time in bringing, if you like, the right elements. But yes, we've definitely had failure.
So all the programs that we run within the foundation are all about, are underpinned with 8 enterprise skills that, you know, we hope that our Home Academy students and Peter Jones Academy students, you know, get a chance to really learn and, you know, and to kind of really say that they've got those skills and then they can leave and go on to their kind of future pathways. So there are things like self-management and resilience, problem solving, leadership, digital skills and things like that. You know, what advice would you give to young people about how they can kind of future-proof that? You know, what else can they do, maybe outside of school or college, to just be better at what they can do so they can start setting themselves apart? You know what I mean?
I would honestly say, just be yourself. Try not to be someone else.
Yeah.
Be yourself. Secondly, network and get a very interesting mentor. A mentor that is going to give you a new life skill.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think mentoring is definitely important. Maybe get a non-executive director that can add value and bring, again, more knowledge into the business. And I guess just meeting different individuals. You know, you're going to learn a lot from just a new person that you may have met, a new life skill.
What would you say to somebody, so say we've got somebody who's, I don't know, 17 or 18 years old, they've got a business idea, they've been invited to attend a networking event, they've never been to one before, and they're feeling a bit nervous about what they are going to say and what they're going to do and how they interact. What advice would you give to that person?
Just have courage.
Yeah.
Get rid of your fear, step in, right? Be courageous, learn, be open. Don't be afraid.
Yeah.
Of course, you're going to get lots of questions asked. You may not have the answer.
Yeah.
And just say, I don't have the answer, but I'm looking for advice.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then that person's going to say, okay, I'm here to help.
Yeah. Courageous, I like that. So we've got 5 minutes left. I cannot believe how quickly that's gone.
Yeah, no.
It's crazy. So I'm going to throw some quick fire, fun questions at you, Paul. Okay, here we go. So we'll start with like a few would you rathers, okay? And these are going to be non-business related, so I'll do a few of each. Would you rather try a mystery dish from a street vendor in Bangkok or a 12-course tasting menu in Paris?
A mystery dish.
Would you rather travel the world for a year with no luggage or stay in a luxury resort for 1 month with everything you need?
I'd probably like to try traveling for a year with no luggage.
Yeah.
Because I think that's outside of the box, thinking, how am I going to basically survive?
Yeah.
And that's what entrepreneurs are.
Yeah. Okay, right. So these are more sort of business related. Would you rather have unlimited funding but zero control, or full control but bootstrap forever?
I think I would probably take the latter.
Yes.
Bootstrap and have control.
Yes.
Because I need to control my destiny with the right stakeholders.
Yeah, and I think even just having a limited funding is it's a moot point.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
you've got no control.
You've got no control.
Yeah.
You could end up scaling too fast and destroy the business.
Yeah. Would you rather launch a product that goes viral for the wrong reasons, or one that is loved by a niche few?
Oh, absolutely the latter.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's important to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's more ethical.
Yeah, it is, yeah. Would you rather pitch your idea to a panel of dragons or to a room full of school children?
School children.
Yeah, I think it'd be quite refreshing, wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
To get their kind of
Yeah.
perspective and the questions that they might ask
Yeah.
you. So these are some real quick ones. Okay, books or movies?
Movies.
Rainy day or sunny day?
Sunny day.
Dancing or singing?
Dancing.
I thought you were going to say singing. I actually had you down for singing.
Yeah, no.
If you had a superpower, would you choose invisibility or flying?
Oh, flying.
Really?
Yeah. I want to see the whole world.
Yeah.
I'm free.
Yeah. Yeah. But you wouldn't want to, put your invisible cloak on and go into a boardroom and listen to what they're saying.
Oh, yeah, no, I can do that by flying as well. I could be a fly on the wall. You didn't ask me how big I'd have to be.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, tea or coffee?
Tea.
Tea. Morning person or night owl?
Morning.
Okay. Blue or green?
Blue.
Red or yellow?
Red.
Belly laughs or wit?
Wit.
Hot or cold?
Hot.
Sweet or savoury?
Sweet.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
And finally, Netflix binge or nature walk?
Binge.
Brilliant. I love it. It's great, isn't it?
Thank you.
It depends.
Yeah.
Sometimes you might fancy a walk. Sometimes you might
Exactly.
just want to lie on the sofa and watch telly. Paul, thank you so much for coming in and talking to us. I feel that we could have just carried on for another
Thank you.
hour. It's been really interesting to hear your insights and what an amazing entrepreneurial journey you have. And I feel like there's going to be more to come.
Thank you for having me. I've really enjoyed the show.
Thanks, Paul.
Wish you all the very best.